saw this guy on Rising. His name is Rami Osei-Frimpong. He goes by Funky Academic, and it's funkyacademic.com. And he talks a lot about, well, ever since the COVID thing happened, he was talking a lot about a general strike, and how this is a great opportunity for the people to get what they need from the government. In this article he called the Safety Factory, he had a quote. He said the liberals said that we'll do whatever it takes to make sure nobody outside of prisoners and grocery store clerks suffer and die. While the right was saying we live with a few extra people suffering and dying if that means we get to seize power. And it shows a great dichotomy in the two parties, but also the way that they disregard the least of us. When they're talking about the prisoners, they're in cage, they got nowhere to go, and they're dying of COVID. Where they're getting it from? They don't go anywhere, but they're still dying because the guards are bringing them in. And then the people that are called essential workers are the ones that have to pack our groceries. So I think the topic of a general strike to get everything that we deserve as a people, including Medicare for all, even if it's not permanent, at least something for to get us through the COVID epidemic. I think it's something that he said that it was a great opportunity that we let slip by. But instead, what we're doing is talking about what we did give, like that little, like the $600 for unemployment, and then the $1,200 for family, and we focusing more on UBI instead of a federal jobs guarantee. And I really agree with him, because in another article he was talking about how the real power is in production and not in consumption. And if we have a federal jobs guarantee, or if we have UBI, which is something that even Mark Zuckerberg goes for, all it guarantees that consumers have money to spend on their products. Is not guaranteeing that they actually can realize their own freedom, their own self-determination, their own satisfaction on actually working, and because people get satisfaction from actually working and getting their money. And by having a UBI, all you're doing is telling people, here, just be a cheap consumer and give me your money. So I think we really have to shift focus from a UBI versus having a federal jobs guarantee. And I think that's something that even Bernie Sanders was in support of.
Yeah, and on that note, like continuing, I'm a person that's seeing the social safety net, the goods of it, and also the bad of it. And the bad of it is when there's no path out of the cycle of whether you call it welfare or public housing. When there's no way out of that, you just get stuck in a generational cycle where you're kind of hopeless. That's when crime goes up and things like that. We have to give people an even starting point and an equal shot to jump up and try to get ahead, versus the current system where sometimes you might just pacify people. And we have to give people the value of work. We have to give, I'm completely on board with that. And a big factor that also is, I don't ever believe people should be de-incentivized to go back to work. And we saw that within the COVID epidemic, some people were making more the $600 extra than they were making in their normal job. Now, with the actual epidemic, we might look at it as this is the government paying you to stay home, not to get people sick. If we look at it that way, it's great. But it really, we have to make sure that once the epidemic is over, that, you don't have a mom who has to choose between going back to work, but she has to then put her kids in daycare, which is going to make it a wash, or she might as well stay home. We have to put in the supplementary programs that make it so that somebody is never de-incentivize it, and it never makes sense for somebody to stay home financially. We want to make it so that they have the support they need, whether it's childcare, whether it is whatever, to make sure that working is the best option for them if they can physically do it.
Yeah. And something about the where you were talking about, I was thinking the other day about how, when we talk about where we came from, our neighborhoods, and where we are now, we might not be where we want to be, but we're better off than we were back then. All we think about is we made it out. man, look where we were, and we made it out. And that made me think about it, like, wait a minute, what about the people that didn't make it out? Why isn't it, why it should be better to make that place somewhere where you want to stay versus somewhere where you want to escape from? You know, and I think a federal jobs guarantee is something that could help with that, because it kind of breaks that cycle that you were talking about, Gabe. You know, people just being, you know, and it might sound a little right wing about it, but, you know, the reality is that people, they do want to work. Most people do want to work, but there's always some people that are going to take advantage of the situation. This is very few. It's very few, but there are some of them, because we know even if you're a millionaire, if you find a loophole to get some extra money out, you're going to do it. Like we saw with the people, the corporations, the Shake Shack, and a bunch of other people that were taking money that they didn't need just because they could. So it's not a matter of you being poor or you being lazy, whatever. It's just a matter that when there's a loophole, some people just going to go try to jump through it.
Yeah, and my point definitely isn't to try to legislate for the few people that will try to take advantage, because no matter what, you're gonna have people that abuse the system. It's more so, don't give anyone who wants to work an incentive to stay home. So if somebody really genuinely wants to go to work, make it so that they are able to contribute in taxes, because ultimately if somebody's able to go to work, they become a taxpayer. And if somebody is incentivized to stay home, they are a tax liability versus a taxpayer.
And if we're actually paying people a living wage, that incentive wouldn't be there.
If you're paying people a living wage, it's going to boost the economy, because now you're going to have more jobs because more people are consuming. The people that consume the most are the people that are the working class. So when you start going down this progressive rabbit hole, it's the greatest solution to actually save capitalism from itself.
Yeah.
Capitalism is trying its best to destroy itself, and the progressive policies are the ones that really would help capitalism thrive the most.
So those 12 billionaires that own $1 trillion will own what, 5 trillion?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh my God! Poo poo.
That's an interesting question, because some people will say that FDR, you know, well, people do say that FDR saved capitalism, but other critics would say, why did he save capitalism? Why didn't we just wipe out the system and have more of a democratic socialist type of system? So we'll see where we go in the future. We'll definitely see where this country goes. All right.